As you can see from my workspace, I have two GitHub accounts really. And this is set up particularly for this session. This is a new account, as you can see from here. It's just a new account I created this morning for the purpose of this class. But then this is my main account. So I'm not going to be using my main account as the control. I'm going to be using the new account as the control. All right. So believing that this new account I created now is the account of the team lead. That's the person who's leading the group. So if this is your account, so this is what you're supposed to do. I've mentioned the step-by-step processes and I've shared with you all. So what you're going to do now is create a new repository and ensure that the repository is public. So for example, I am doing group 11, not the repository name. I'm going to create the repository. Of course, this one is happening like this because this is a new account. Of course, it doesn't have any repository currently in there. So, but if you have some repository, you might not see that screen. You might see a list of the repository where you navigate to where you can click and create a new repository, so to say. So now that we are here, what we are supposed to do is that we're supposed to do all this, but I'm going to skip all those things and I'm just going to jump right into the repository using this link, create a new file. So I'm going to create a new file. And the file structure we are using is actually the one we have been using in the past, but we have an asset folder that contains images, styles, and JavaScript, and then we have an index.html file, which is a sibling of asset. What that means is that it's actually going to be residing on the root. If we look at what we have here, group 11 is considered the root because that's a folder you are cloning to your local machine. So the first thing we want to do is we need to create the asset folder. Now, in GitHub, if there is no particular window where you create like Windows Explorer or the Explorer on your local machine. There is no particular window where you create folder or create a file, unlike what you see in Windows. In this case, you just have to explicitly indicate that this is a folder by including the slash. So once you include the forward slash, it automatically believes or assumes that that is a folder. So inside asset, we have starters, for example, which is also a folder. I'm going to do forward slash again, and you can see it gives me another input box where I'm going to type the finding, and this and the finding is going to be style.css. And since this is the file and that's the resource I'm creating, click on commit message, commit changes. Ensure that your commit message is clearly descriptive. I'm going to say, and notice that the commit message are actually present tense, right? I create, I do, right? Something like that. So I'm going to commit. That changes, and you can see now style is now available as a file inside styles folder, which is inside asset folder on the root. So we're going to go back to assets folder, and then we are going to add files. Now we are in asset folder. We're going to add file. I'm just going to click on this final button here, and I'm going to click on create a new file. What is what we want to create now? So I'm going to create JS, which is actually a folder. So I'm going to end it with a forward slash, and then I'm going to say, let's say my folder is going to be main.js. That's the name of my file. So I'm going to commit the changes again, and I'm going to do commit changes. You can optionally add the description. That is up to you, really. Then I'm going to go back to asset now, and I can choose to create because the essence of doing this thing is you don't want your teammate to be the one setting up this because you don't want any form of conflict to arise. So that's the essence of creating all these things. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new file, one more file, or one more folder. I'm going to create one more directory, and that directory is going to be called images, like this. And inside images, because there is no way I would now create an image file here if I'm not uploading, which is not the route I want to take for now. So I'm going to put a placeholder there, text.jpg. Although this is not an image, I guess that's a placeholder that I'm committing the changes, right? And then I'm committing changes. And that's all I want to create as the subdirectories and the files in the subdirectories to access. So I'm going to go back to the root, which is group 11, and I'm going to click on add file. This time around, I'm adding the file directly to the root. So the file I'm adding this time is index.html. So, and I'm committing the changes. Now that the changes have been committed, I have my full working file structure here. But then, I also need to be able to set up a boilerplate on my index.html. And to do that, I'll have to open this index.html file, and I'm going to edit the file. As you can see here, I'm going to edit this file. And now that I'm editing this file, what I'm supposed to do is to type all this bunch of text here, doctype, HTML. Well, I have a VS Code file I opened already that has those contents. So I'm just going to go here, and I am going to, for a minute, I'm going to copy this. I don't need this also. I don't need this. So I'm going to copy this whole thing. And then I'm going to come to my editing page. I'm going to come to my editing page. I'm going to paste that. Yes, good. So now that this is been posted here, I can now go ahead, 11 tabs, multiply, clone, whatever it is you're cloning, just write it there so that we can be able to know from just looking at the title, the title bar, what exactly you're working on. So I'm going to commit these changes. And I'm committing the changes. And I think that's all we need to do. At the level of you being a team lead, this is all you need to do. The next thing you might probably want to do is to navigate to this point and get to this account of yours so that we have something like this. You can open this repository and then copy this link, copy this particular link in the URL, or copy this one here, or copy this one here, whatever one you do works, copy it and send it to the WhatsApp one. So when you copy it, or you inform them in your group that you did the record. So now that you are done as the team lead, what we have to do, those of us who are actually members of your team, what we're supposed to do is to come to our own repository, our own GitHub account. Then, when you are here, the next thing you're supposed to do is to click on this search, right? This search bar here. So you click on this search bar, for example, it's actually loading. So click on this search bar, and inside the search bar, you're going to type the account name of that your team lead. In our own case, the account name we are searching for is Sketchmarks. This is the name we are searching for. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to do Sketchmarks, or capital small, Sketchmarks. This. And like I've actually explained to us that searching in GitHub or repository in GitHub are actually locally scoped. So what it's telling us is that we cannot find any repository that matches the search string. But if you read this description here, it said, however, we found one user that matched your search page. So you see that you click here, or you come here and click on the user, and you're going to see Sketchmarks. And like I explained in the past, in GitHub, we can do some novel things, like you can follow somebody you like, you can start a project you're working on, you can clone a project from somebody else's page, just so you can understand what a person is doing. You can even contribute the project somebody else is working on, so which is what we want to do now. So what we want to do, we click on this, we'll click on the account. Now you can see that this is Sketchmarks account, and he has one repository, right? He has one repository. Let's get into that repository. What that is trying to call up that repository, I want to quickly show something. In the account of the person who created that repository, he doesn't or she doesn't have the ability to fork the code, right? It doesn't because it is his own property. So he or she cannot actually do this exercise. But for those of us who are visiting from other accounts, forking of code is actually interpreting to you that you are creating a copy of that code from another person's repository and you are owning that copy of code. The essence of that is that you want to actually study that code or you want to use it for a demonstration or you want to actually study the code to understand if there are errors in that code that you can contribute to better inform the upgrade or updating of that original code, which is what open source is all about. But once we say an application is open source, it means that anybody from anywhere in the world can actually fork this code and basically contribute to the improvement of that code. Now, this is what we want to demonstrate here. So we are going to actually click on this tiny little button called fork your own copy of this. So we're going to click on it. And when we do, it is going to ask us to create a repository which, as you can see here by default, these are named the same as their upstream repository. You can customize the name to distinguish it further if you want. But just to make sure that everything is going on straight, I'm going to use the name. The only difference is that now under my own account, it is I am now the owner of this petition. Okay, so and then I can then because we are just maybe 3 or 4 groups. We will not be talking about branching for now, but we will definitely discuss that in the next video. So I'm going to create a fork of the code. So I'm going to click on this green button, and then it is going to take a few seconds, and that version of code will be created for me to use. As you can see now, it is in my name, Kachi Group 11, but then it is giving me a tiny description here that it is this from this, it is forked from this particular account. So now that this has been done, the next thing I want to do, before we continue, let's look at what we have here. When we look at what we have here, you see that there is no particular section of this sidebar that tells us whether we have 1 or 2 more persons contributing to it. So just take note of that. We are going to come back to it in a moment. So now, what do we do? Now that this has been done, the code has been created on my own. So I'm going to click on code and I'm going to copy this URL. So now that I copy this URL, I'm just going to go ahead to my VS Code. I'm going to use a new window this time. And in this new window, let me maximize it. I'm coming to my source control and I'm going to clone a repository. I'm cloning from GitHub. It is my own account that it is going to actually fetch this data from. So as you can see now, I've got in Apache Group 11, and that's what we're uploading from. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to ask me where am I saving it. So as usual, I want to save it inside document, and I want to save it inside projects. Yes, I think let me just save it in scale up. And then, even though we'll have a folder here for now, let me get rid of it because I don't need it again. So this, okay, let me just put it inside grades. What's this? Let me put it there. Let me put it in projects and selecting. So now that I've done that, it will, yes, the repository has been cloned. And then, as you can see from my file tree, as you can see from my file tree, you can see that asset is there. Let's look at what the things are in asset. Inside asset, we have images that has text.jpg. Even though it's not an image, of course, it's not an image, but it's just like a placeholder. We have JS, okay, we have main.js inside it. you'll see that there's nothing inside it really. There's really nothing inside it. Then we have CSS, style for CSS, we have style for CSS. Nothing is inside it also. But inside our index.html, you'll see we have some bunch of text inside it. So you can remember with 11 magnified rule. Okay. So now you know that this repository was actually created under sketch marks. And this is under my own account. So let's assume that my own contribution on this project is just to build the nav bar. So I'm just going to go ahead to do something. So say name like this, and I say nav, and inside nav, I'm saying one, and inside one, I put on H1 there, and I'm saying without clone, apply clone, for example. When I'm saying links, links, inside links, I have a bunch of URL, I have a bunch of a which means nowhere at home. I want to duplicate that in the 3 places. I want to do about, for example, this is just for demonstration's sake. I don't know what is there already, so about compatibles. Then I want to right after that, I want to do my hamburger. What is going to be spam on the 3 places, and I think that's all I want to do. Right? This is all my contribution as far as HTML is concerned. So the next thing I want to do now is, and I want to move this thing from my local machine. I want to update it with what I have by remote repository. So I come to my source control here. I give a good commit message, analyze the boilerplate templating, something like that. I don't know what that is. Templating for my part, right? And then I click on commits. Now that I clicked on commits, it takes some time, then I'm going to sync the changes, and I think it will just do its job and it will be synced, right? So once it's finished thinking, we'll go back to our GitHub, my own account, let's say. We'll go back to my own account. If I refresh, you will see that this thing would have been updated. Now you can see that the time here will change. It says now, finalizing the boilerplate templating for my class. And it will say now. But then if you go to this other account, which he doesn't know that you are doing anything at the time, he doesn't know. He only knows that your code has been, his code has actually been copied or fed. As you can see now that it has increased to number 1. Somebody has actually done this, really. Somebody has actually focused it. So, but the repository is still as he created it. Nothing has changed. And that is why we're saying that the last activity was 11 minutes ago. So how do you move from your own account to this account without breaking anything? So let's do that. That's the next task we want to look at. So now that you have done this, the next thing you want to do is to click on pull request. So you're possibly going to make your first pull request at this point. So I click on pull request, and then I am going to create a new pull request. So I'm clicking on create a new pull request, and it is going to ask me some couple of questions. Number 1, it is going to compare this branch to this upstream branch. So what do we mean by this? This is the base branch. This is where we are pushing to. This is where we are moving our code to, which is both repository sketch marks group 11. And the branch we are moving to is main. Where are we moving from? We are moving from my own account, group 11 on my own account, and we are moving into from the branch of main called sketch marks group 11. And after reviewing from its internal algorithm, it tells that this code does not have any conflict, so they can merge. Now let's look at what you actually did. This is still your own right. This is all the things we did here, as you can see. But then let us create a pull request. So I'm going to create a pull request. You might want to give a message so that it will help your team lead understand what the things you did. So optionally, you can add a description, but let us slide. Okay, so let me add a good description. I created a nav, completed created the complete nav, nav structure, but yet to style it, right? Then I do create pull request. Now, pull request has been created and it is currently open. So if I inform the team lead that, look, in fact, of course, the team lead should get a mail at this point that there is a pull request. So we need to always check our mail. So the team lead should get an email probably that there is a pull request waiting for you to act on. So let's go to that account and let's refresh the page. As you can see, we're on sketch marks, group 11. One of the things the new guy posted, check pull request. You'll see now that we have one pull request. Let's check who the pull request originator is. As you can see now, it is opened by Godwin Kachi, and the title is Finalizing the Boilerplate Templating for my task. All right, so let's open it and let's review what is in there. Okay, so now he says, this is the title and this is the description. I have created a complete now structure, but yet to style it. All right, so what should we do at this point? The first thing we want to do is let us look at the commits, because obviously it is possible that he did this pull request and it went on straight, but then the type of the pattern he or she used to write the code does not conform with what I'm expecting him or her to. So let me check what he did. So we'll click on commits and we open this pull request title by clicking on the title again. And then let's look at what the person did. As you can see now, the person actually added all these ones and applause. He didn't delete from what we already had, but he just added all this stuff. So looking at it now, I think I'm good with this. I'm good with this. The formatting is beautiful, except for this line 22. I don't feel comfortable with this because we're supposed to break the line, so to say. Even though yes, this works, there's no problem here. But let's just see that, okay, fine, I have something I want to make as a comment. So I'm going to click on this, review changes. And the essence of reviewing these changes, we have three options. Submit general feedback without explicit approval. So approve, submit feedback and approve merging these changes. Request changes, submit feedback that must be addressed before merging. So these are the three options, and I think they are self-descriptive enough. So if I want him to do those things before I approve, I can just send a comment. But if I feel like, yes, it is good that fixing this error, but then it doesn't stop anything, it shouldn't stop me from approving, then I choose the second option. But if I want him to fix this thing before I can match, right, then I request changes. You may want to ask, then what is the difference between comment and request? The difference is just a tiny gap, really, just a tiny gap. If I comment and I submit review, I would still have the opportunity to merge, right? But if I request changes, the merge option, the merge button will not be active. I have to wait for him to submit that left pull request before I can merge. So I'm going to choose the second one, and I'm going to say, please subsequently ensure that codes are broken down into new lines. All right, so I'm submitting review, and then I'm going ahead to merge. As you can see now, the right hand, so there's an approval, and then I'm going to merge this pull request. I'm going to confirm merging. Now that it's been merged, let's go back here and let's see. Now it is telling us that it has been merged, right? It's telling us here that it's been merged and there is no other things that needs to be done. But then Sketchmarks left a comment. And as you can see, he is the owner, right? He left a comment. He said, please subsequently ensure that codes are broken down that's a spelling mistake, broken down into new lines. So I want to react to it. And I say, thank you, reacted to it. Just like this. Let's go back to that point. Let's go back to that point again. And let's see what happens. You see that this is sketch mask account, and we have actually gotten the reaction that I've given to it. So this is basically all the things you need to know. And as you can notice from this video, we don't use any command line. So I just want it to be straightforward so that there is nobody who complains that I do not understand the workflow. All right. So thank you very much, and let's keep going. Please, if you enjoyed this video, please do well to like and subscribe so that you can encourage us to do more of the quality videos like this to help our ecosystem grow. I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you.